Hey folks, welcome back to Gaming Garbage, where we take a look at games, chat about the gaming news in the industry, and of course, stream for fun. Today, we're talking about Battlefield 6. Now, the beta is over, and there are some people kind of worried about the future monetization of the game. So I'll address that a little bit, and then kind of my just short final thoughts at the end. So some people are thinking that this is going to be like like a continued game. It's just going to keep going. There's going to keep being new content, but the whole idea is that I don't think it's going to be like COD. I think the idea is that it's going to come from us. Now, I still think they're going to create new guns, put new maps, new modes, that kind of thing. I still think EA is, of course, going to do that for Battlefield 6. But let's dig into these couple of articles here. And so, yeah, EA is introducing what calls a complete and ongoing platform experience. So it's not just Battlefield 6, it's going to become a platform for more stuff. And I think this is what people are worried about. The platform approach has sparked fears that the base game will be supported by a steady flow of paid content, including cosmetic items and possibly even game-altering additions. EA's focus on a platform model suggests a more deeply embedded monetized system. And yes, I do agree with that. But I think it could also be good for players and for the company. Let's look into this. This is Video Gamer. Battlefield Portal is complete with a server browser, and this allows players to create maps and game modes, which are heavily inspired by modes like Halo Forge. So for those of us that played Halo Forge back in the day, we know what that is, but it was basically like a map editor. You could just make whatever you wanted. Battlefield Portal is essentially EA's answer to modes like Fortnite's UEFN mode, and Battlefield 6 uses, the Frostbite engine, which we know is different from Unreal, but it also comes with a Portal editor that uses a free Godot engine. And so the idea is that, there's going to be different maps and creations, including being able to make iconic game modes like Prop Hunt, Griff Ball, and more. And they say it's absolutely important for the game as big as Battlefield 6. People just don't want to, have a game that they can complete. They want one that can grow, that can evolve, that they can make their dreams come true. So Battlefield 6 uses a portal and is designed to make the game stay fresh years after you first picked it up, injecting the game with longevity. And this is their idea, right? Even if Battlefield 7 ends up being released in a few years from now, Battlefield 6 portal mode will still bring new life to the game and give players, a product that keeps on going. So really, they're going to rely on the players to actually kind of keep building the game. And we already see this in Fortnite. Okay, there's tens of thousands of creators that make different maps, that make items and stuff, and they sell those. And both, Microsoft and the creators get joint share in profits there. Also, we get to see this in Roblox. It's the same thing. They get to create maps and they get to create rooms and get different game modes, like sky's the limit, right? We also got to hear this about EVE Online Frontiers. They're wanting young guys and gals that want to become game developers or get started to work on creating things for the game. And it sounds like they want to work on creating a system where people can inject content creation into the game. We also got to see this too with Starfield. It wasn't just Starfield. It was, okay, we also have 900 other planets where people can just build on, make mods, change things, do whatever they want. And now that we've seen this through like the Fallouts and through Skyrim, and also now with Starfield, of course, is that, Bethesda and players, the idea is that you get to share with the profits. Now, that's not always executed very well, as we've seen, but that's the idea. And this idea is starting to really take off and continuing to gain some traction. So, and there's other games too, but I can't think of them all off my head. And so I'm really curious what this exactly is going to look like. And I'm sure this is only going to be on PC. This might be a different thing that you even maybe buy into. I don't know. We'll have to see. But again, the monetization for Battlefield 6 is very, very tight. And it's the biggest thing that I worry about first, because the gameplay is really fun. There's a few things that I would tweak, okay, like pulling the trigger and the game thinking it's on semi-auto when it really is on auto, and so I die because I only shot once. Also, too, the fact that an RPG strike only kind of cosmetically damages a building and doesn't help create a hole. And then the second shot does a ton of damage. So it'd be nice if that was a little bit more balanced. And I mean, there's some other things too, but overall, having played Battlefield since Battlefield 2, which is roughly, that was made in 2005. I think I started playing it in 2007, 2008. The Battlefields, they've been fun. Like, playing number 4, playing number 1, playing number 5, and this is a really good experience, and a lot of people are enjoying it. And what I think too is that ultimately Call of Duty players, well, it's going to be the Battlefield folks that have been playing COD, waiting for something else besides 2042. They're going to leave and go play Battlefield 6, and I think the COD players are generally speaking going to stay there. So because one's an arcade shooter and one's more of a Battlefield simulator. So, and I think it's just made for two different audiences, even though they're both first-person shooters, because both have to be played pretty differently, and that'll be interesting. I think too we should still go back to like 5 or even 6-person squads instead of 4. Sometimes there's just more people that want to play with everybody else, and there's just not enough space, so then you got to do multiple squads. So that's kind of a bummer too. We know too that we're also going to have cross-platform. We already have that, which is wonderful. A lot of the vehicles feel good. A lot of the game modes feel good. The weapons could be a little bit more punchy, but overall, it's Battlefield 6 I'm really happy with personally. And I like too that we're actually getting a 10% discount for pre-order, which I'll likely be doing myself, and then I'll be using Xbox rewards to even get it cheaper than that. But I am still worried about the microtransaction level of all of this, because I still think of Star Wars Battlefront 2 that was released, I think, in 2017, the whole loot box situation, and it had an amazing game. But again, when we take a look at Steam, let me pull this up real quick. When we work on taking a look at the max, we can see that, again, it just did not get very high, and it was just a few months. This whole loot box system was a mess, and it was even looking at being banned in multiple countries. And you notice we don't really have loot boxes really anymore. And then people started playing and coming back, and it got to massive numbers, right? People still enjoyed it, and it's still almost higher already, even in August, than what the peak was around launch. And so the potential is still there for EA to mess this up. And I think having the portal maker, map maker, is a cool idea. We've seen this in multiple games. I think it's cool too if creators can actually make a little bit of money, but then again, it also needs to be worth it and executed well, and should not be pushed out and shouldn't be buggy like some of the Starfield stuff is. And but I do think it's a really cool idea. And again, I think Battlefield 6, it is a good game, but we'll have to see how they do the monetization. So that's my biggest kind of worry right now, and I will be checking it at launch. The last thing I would change is definitely the menu and UI system. I think it needs to be simpler. I would love from 2042 for the whole weapon system to come back, where you can just hit a button and your gun comes up into your screen and you can see all of the different types of attachments and basically tweak it all right there without ever leaving the game or having to go to a different menu system. I would love for that to be able to come back. But yeah, for Battlefield 6, it's a good game. It feels like it's back. It's fun. Again, there's a few of those things that I would tweak, and I am still worried about the microtransaction system, but I'll work on taking a look at it later this year for the channel. And we got some other stuff too, but yeah, I am curious how EA is also going to implement this Portal like platformer kind of style of game, because again, they've never done this before, but this is kind of the new meta for a lot of companies, for a lot of the big companies, is they're figuring out that they can't keep up demand for content. And the content usually suffers in quality, like we've seen with Call of Duty, for example, and other games as well. And so it's like, well, if we let the players come in and basically be devs for us and build stuff past our creativity and ability, then the game can just grow on its own, just like a Roblox. And I think that's what they're hoping for. So thanks for tuning in, folks. You can always follow me over at Gaming Garbage 22 over at YouTube. We also have playlists of a bunch of different stuff, and I do different types of videos every week. And if something isn't for you, that's okay. Just skip on through and wait for the next video. There's always something new coming around the corner. Also, too, you can follow me over at Twitch at Don't Tread on Thee. And yeah, when I'm playing video games, absolutely, I'll chat with you guys in the chat. And just kind of like a service note for the channel. My third child is going to be born pretty soon. And I'm also having a lot of overtime right now with work. And content is going to slow a little bit, but I still will doing at least these type of videos. And I will be getting back to the playthrough stuff as quickly as I can for Dark Souls 2 and also for Tomb Raider, The Angel of Darkness. So thank you guys too for engaging and promoting the channel. And I know some of you don't necessarily, maybe feel kind of iffy about some of the comments you leave. But hey, that's okay. As long as it's clean, okay, it'll be on the channel. But generally speaking, a lot of you are pretty nice and engaging in the conversation. And again, that's what I'm looking for this type of audience. So thanks for tuning in. With that, folks, we'll see you guys on the next one.